Hello everyone, I'm Daniel. We're back for the final video in this series of building a better deck for the core set investigators. This time it's Trish. It's our last one. She's the Rogue Seeker. Before we get into talking about her and the deck that FFG supplied with you in the box, just want to remind you that this isn't primarily about giving you a deck that just works, but rather how can we think through building the deck itself. So feel free to make modifications. Of course, if you're playing with different investigators on your team, then you're probably going to have to. So don't just copy paste the deck. Do your own modifications. Make it work for you. But I want to talk through what the cards are and why I'm making the decisions I'm making, and maybe give you a good starting point if this is the investigator you would like to play with. So let's talk about Trish herself. She is a returning investigator who's got much the same stuff as the first time, but with a new ability. Anyway, Chapter 2, Trish Scarborough is the former spy. She's got 2 willpower, not a good number, 4 intellect, good number, 2 combat, not a good number, 4 agility, also a good number. It's really interesting to have this balance where there's 2 good stats and 2 bad stats, and those 2 good stats are the same, meaning we can choose to lean into one or the other, or maybe into both. She has the extra action during her turn, which can only be used to evade. This means a basic evade. It could be an evade printed on an asset. It could be an evade that is printed on an event. You choose. It's any kind of evade action that this counts for. Her Elder Sign effect +0. After this test resolves, you may disengage from each enemy and move to a connecting location. This is kind of part of her idea of being a spy or former spy, where she's getting away from enemies a lot. She can evade. This essentially makes her get away without having to take the evade test. However, because you're not exhausting the enemies, they can still, if they're hunter, come after you. So the Elder Sign here is neat and might be useful, but sometimes it's better to stay engaged with the enemy and actually exhaust it. Now, her deck building is very simple, as all of them are. 0 to 5 Rogue, 0 to 2 Seeker. These are 2 really, really good classes historically in the game, and here too. 0 to 5 Neutral. Take a look at her signatures. While I've seen Trish played, I haven't really seen Covert Ops much. It does read pretty well. This is an asset that costs just 2, and it gets into play, and after you evade an enemy, exhaust it, either draw a card or move to a connecting location. Like I just said, it's a good idea to get out after you've evaded the enemy, so this is really nice. But if nothing else, if you don't need to move or don't want to, drawing a card is pretty great. Kind of reminds me of in the Evergreen starter decks, there's a card for Miguel de la Cruz, his knapsack, that basically allows him to either draw a card after playing an event or do something like play it as if it's in a connecting location. And most of the time, if you don't need that extra ability, drawing a card is just really, really good. So it's good. I just haven't really seen it much. Now, her signature weakness is a tough one. Black Chamber Operative. For combat, pretty tough. Just 2 HP, which is kind of standard for this sort of thing. And 4 evade. Tough to evade. So that's one reason why you might not want to evade this guy, but fighting is just as difficult for other investigators. For Trish, it's really hard to fight. Anyway, you'll be wanting to get away from this guy or just eliminating him from the board, because he does have Hunter. Prey Trish Scarborough only, so he'll, if there's ever a tie, go for Trish. And ignoring all their investigators anyways when moving or engaging. So I guess the ties doesn't really matter here. It's just that he'll go after Trish. Forced. After you evade Black Chamber Operative, place one of your clues on your location. If you can't, that is, you don't have a clue, this enemy readies, engages you, and makes an immediate attack. 1 damage, 1 horror on the attack. So everything here says, don't evade me. Just eliminate him from the board. Big question is going to be, well, how do you do that? She's got 2 combat. So we'll see the cards that come in her deck, but this guy's just kind of a problem. I do think that most of the time, if you're playing in multiplayer, you're going to play with someone else who has a real weapon, and then just take a tough test and hopefully eliminate him on 1 action. Otherwise, you might need to kite him around a bit. It is a little bit tough. So just a point of order here on the timing. If you, for example, are using Covert Ops here and you're doing an evade on the Black Chamber Operative somehow, the forced effect happens first. So they're both after you evade. So the forced effect happens first. So let's just pretend you did manage to evade him. Let's say you placed a clue in your location. Okay, great. You lose your clue, then you can draw the card or move to a connecting location. If you did not have a clue, then the enemy readies, engages you, and makes an immediate attack. Then you could draw a card or move to a connecting location, which seems a little counterproductive. Like he's going to engage you and then you move to another location. You won't get attacked for that because it's not an action. But what have you actually accomplished here? He's now still engaged with you, but now you're somewhere else. Maybe I don't know. This is a tough weakness for her if she's playing solo. Let's go ahead and bring up the deck now. As usual, one of everything. The two things we have two copies of, well, I guess there's always emergency cash, so giving you two, are going to be the broken bottle. This is to fight with, and the hand crank flashlight. This is to investigate with. I've been really impressed by hand crank flashlight. It's cheap. It is +1 all time. Sometimes you do the discard. It's a good card. Broken bottle though, it's not going to help you much with Mr. Black Chamber Operative, right? Like that's just going to be a 3-on-4 test. Like yikes. There are other ways to deal with this guy potentially, but this is not the solution. So here's what we're going to do. As usual, we're going to go through here and maybe talk about the things that just don't belong. I think for Trish, it's a little bit harder to decide that other than the broken bottle we just talked about, because her two stats are basically representing the two classes she has access to, Seeker and Rogue. And she can choose to go in either direction or a little bit of both. So most of these cards are going to be reasonable in her, so it's hard to make some cuts. Part of my criteria is going to be which are the cards that I used in Joe already, and maybe which ones I used in Dexter to some extent. Just kind of thinking about that holistically if you are trying to use these all together. Like I said at the very beginning, actually check what you're doing with your team, and we might need to make some adjustments. But I think for Trish, most of these cards are good. All right. So let's just go down to level 0 stuff for now, of course. I don't think we need the broken bottle. It's just, I don't know how we're passing that test. We didn't even get overpower in this deck. Like, I don't know what's going on. The only wild icons we have are on other... We have anything? We have no unexpected courage? Wow, why did they give her broken bottle? That's nuts. Okay, well, what else is in here? We should talk about Hammerless. We didn't include this in Dexter. And for Trish, it is a good way for her to turn her extra evade action into a fight action using the stat she's good at. Problem with this is the Black Chamber Operative is just going to ready after you evade. So it's hard to get that if the targeted enemy is exhausted, the attack deals +1 damage off on him. The only way you could do it, I suppose, is if you had a clue to drop. Let's check that again. Yeah, so you could evade if you pass the test, place a clue, and then shoot with the hammerless. So that's like probably all you can do. I'm willing to run 2 of these. I think this card for 3 resources, 8 damage for Trish makes a lot of sense. Because of this, we do want to boost our agility as much as possible. Now, the way I usually look at that is go to the ally slot and say, well, Olivier Bishop is here. We didn't put him in the Dexter deck. It might as well be 2, right? 2 copies of Olivier. This guy's expensive, gives you a free move, gives you the agility boost. It's really good. This is a very strong card. Trish is already, like, I think the rogues are trying to do lots of actions in Chapter 2. And none of them are like particularly amazing, but the more you can stretch your turn longer and getting these extra moves for free, the better you are. Laboratory Assistant potentially is good for Trish just because the card draw, of course, is always relevant. The 2 Horror Soak is really good. She's got 8/6 health sanity, so it's not a bad call, but I don't think we've got room for everything in this deck. So we're going to go ahead and remove that and think about Dorothy. I didn't add Dorothy to Joe Diamond in our original deck. We could have. She only costs 3. 1/1 soak isn't great. I do think that this successfully investigating by exactly 1 or 3 is going to happen enough that this is probably worth it. I'm okay running 2 allies in this deck. We might get, a charisma in the future or something, but we're hoping that the rogue economy makes up for having some expensive assets put into play. Let's run them both. Why not? Now, Lucky Cigarette Case also is another way of doing something after you succeed by a certain number. This time it's 2. Drawing a card. Card draws good. If you already are using these 2 in Dexter, then it's fine to drop this from Trish. Otherwise, you might as well run it in Trish. It's just a good card. I'm going to drop it here just in the interest of card space, and then we'll think about the rest of the cards here. Okay, back to our hand slots. We're running here Fingerprint Kit for extra clues. That seems really good. It's also very expensive. I didn't put it into Joe. We could put it here. I think if you're playing 2, 3 player, this is reasonable. It does mean that you're trying to use your intellect stat a little more, and maybe you can. Local map gives us a little bit more movement. If we didn't have enough movement already, this is letting us do some tricky things with you being in different locations and getting clues from a revealed connecting location. That works really well with Olivier, right? He gives you a move, you get out of a location that's maybe difficult to stand in. We saw this a lot in the new core set. There's treacheries that attach that make things difficult, like fire, or maybe there's enemies. You can get some use out of this. You have to be a little bit careful. I think it's not a particularly strong card, but if you play around this idea that you can move around the map a bit, it might be helpful. Like if it's better for you to sit somewhere that's not the location you're getting clues from. The one part I don't like about this card is that you are investigating that location. So it's not like you're changing the shroud at all. You're still investigating that connected location, essentially as if you were there. So if there's anything that says as an additional cost to investigate, blah, 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 this doesn't get around that, unfortunately. It is free, 4 free more moves, though, potentially. Let's add them just for fun. I do think we run the Thieves Kit. And now we have so many items in our hand slots. This is a really good card that lets us use either of our numbers and get some resources back. So if we're boosting intellect, we can, use this for, well, not a lot, right? It is 3 resources in, and you get the resources potentially back. So there's no like actual benefit if you're only using intellect. But if you happen to have more cards that commit that way, or you have Dorothy Simmons in play or something like that, it's fine. I don't think this is a priority for Trish just because she could basic investigate with intellect and this be no different. But if she's running the Olivier stuff, if you're running more skill cards that have agility icons on them, this is really nice for you. So I think we want this for other synergy too. Item synergy, such as this Prestidigitation card. If you haven't seen this recently, fast, play only during your turn. Play an item from your hand, reducing its cost by 2. When your turn ends, return an item asset you control to your hand. So this really means that you can put something like the Thieves Kit into play and then return something else, like, I don't know, the magnifying glass maybe, or something else that's out of uses. I don't know, something that you can then bounce back and forth. So the fact that we've got lots of cards here that have uses on them really, really is nice for this. Plus the reduction. We want 2 of those. How many hand slots items do we need to make that work? I don't know the answer to that. Ideally, like this works really nice with the magnifying glass. But if we're gonna have to make some cuts, it very well might be those seeker cards. We can just run the flashlight, the local map, hammerless, and thieves kit, especially if we're doing some overlap with the other decks. Okay. I'm happy with that, but you could probably go nuts and add other stuff in there. It would be fine. Okay. What else we got? Under the no slot stuff, we have Sharp Rhetoric. This is the Seeker talent that gives you +1 intellect, or +2 if it's an investigation, or parlay. And same for Willpower. I don't think this makes a lot of sense in Trish. I mean, clearly the +2 for investigations is really good. But for this deck, I think we want to use our agility more. Let's give this a cut and instead have 2 copies of Silver Tongue, which gives us our 2 numbers that we like a lot and a bonus if it's an evasion or parlay, which is likely to be the case. Let's run 2 of those, and also makes sense to run 2 of Sticky Fingers. After you successfully evade an enemy, exhaust this to gain a resource. Yeah, get some more money that way. All right, we have 31 cards, so we got to make some more cuts, which are not going to be easy ones. Breaking and entering, we said didn't make any sense in Dexter. It makes a lot of sense in Trish. Again, are 2 really good numbers. If you succeed by 2 or more, which is likely, you may automatically evade an enemy at this location. This is an automatic evade. It's not a successful evade, so Sticky Fingers does not refund you for such a thing happening. That's okay. And this is an investigate. This is not an evade, so it does not count for Trish's extra action. Still, very strong card. Lets us succeed by a bunch. Doesn't provoke attacks opportunity. And, well, this can also target enemies that are not engaged with you. Or, like a big, massive elite enemy or something like that. Fantastic card. We should run it. Even though it feels like it doesn't synergize with other stuff here, it kind of does. Probably would incentivize us to run the Lucky Cigarette case too. Anyway, we should just default to emergency cash. I don't think there's any reason not to run this. Even though there's good economy cards, I think here, it's just a staple. We have a lot of things that cost money, and the burst economy is just really good. Okay, gather intel. I know we put these into Joe. It totally works with Trish too, and we don't really have any other card draw. So let's just say we're going to put 2 of them in the deck. Even if we're playing with Joe, I don't know, fight over it. Paint the town red. This is another economy card that lets us draw an enemy from the encounter deck and get resources equal to that printed card's enemy's printed health. I talked about this with Dexter. I don't think this is a good card. In general, I'm trying to include everything in the box into some deck, but I think this card is just getting cut. If you are playing 4-player and you have to include this card just to make a legal deck, and I would include this in my deck over the Broken Bottle. So I think we're just going to cut it entirely and say this card doesn't have a home yet, but I think it's also just bad. It might be, you might need to play it. Talked about Prestidigitation already. Through the Cracks is an interesting card. It's an evade. This one gives you extra movement too. The problem with this card, at least at its level 0 version, is it's really expensive. 3 resources, you get +1 for the evasion for each clue you control, which potentially gives you a good amount. Maybe there's some big boss there, and you're like, well, this guy's got 4 or 5 evade. How do I beat that? This, combined with other stuff, might help you. Do you have 3 resources to put into this? It does give you a free move afterwards. I mean, personally, I'd rather just stick with something like Silver Tongue and get my bonus that way. I mean, 3 resources into Silver Tongue gives you what, +6? You don't have the free move, but I think we have enough of that with Olivier that it's not that big of a deal. This card's too expensive. Upgrade is a little better, but this card is too expensive. Of course, if you are engaged with multiple enemies, it gets a little better. Just don't do that. I think we don't run Working Hunch either. I think that this is just too expensive for us. If we're running solo, it's better. But this is probably in Joe's deck. If we do have access to a second deduction, we should run it. We don't have any clue compression here, which is a bit of a problem. So potentially we do the fingerprint kit because we can make that happen, I think, pretty easily. In which case, I might dump the deductions just, again, in interest of trying to share the cards. It's a tough choice, though. We'll see how we're doing on card count, but I do think the fingerprint kit is a good card for Trish. I think she could afford it, potentially. It's got the bouncing effect that is pretty good. Like, we can make this cost only effectively 3 with the Prestidigitation. Good card. Mantle Dexterity we should run. Perception we should run. This Out of Sight card, it is just another one of these effects that lets us disengage and move. there's places for this. Again, I've played the campaign a number of times. I can see, oh yeah, I wish I had it at this point, but you need to succeed by 2 in order to get this effect. It's not likely. It's not impossible, but I don't think it's worth it, even if you're combining it with something like the Silver Tongue, to just make this one icon give you the extra action. I don't think it's worth our deck slot. That does get us to exactly 30. Let's take a look at what that would be. By the way, our weakness shouldn't be this. This is the one that just it comes with. We'll put a random one instead. I'll just remove from the deck so we're sure, and put a new random basic weakness. Okay, let's look at what we got. So I'm seeing a lot of expensive cards, right? But sometimes when you play this game, you have to say, look, I'm not going to play everything. Like Dorothy shows up, you play Dorothy. Maybe she gives you enough money back, and then you can play Olivier later. Maybe you play the Thieves Kit, you get some money first, and then you can play Local Map or something similar. We do have the Sticky Fingers. These events aren't too expensive. We don't have a whole lot of card draw. If you're going to drop anything and put in the Lucky Cigarette Case, I don't know what it would be, honestly. You could go light on the Ally, but, you know, I think this will get the job done. Notably, there's no other damage in the deck other than the Hammerless. There just isn't anything that they came up with for the core set Rogue. But this is 8. 8 damage is really good. It's going to be a test, and you have no boost to it. So certainly, if you want to do just a better version of this deck where you don't use any of these Seeker cards, you could eliminate Dorothy, you could not run the local map, and just go all in on the agility stuff. And that's probably what you would do when we look at the other things that are available to us in the Evergreen deck, as well as the upgrades. It's just tough. Like, again, she can do both of these things really well, but without, I don't know, you can't stretch yourself too thin in this game. You can't try to do too many things equally well, because you're likely to just do all of them not so great. Sometimes you can get there, but I think with the limited deck space we have here, this is not a bad choice. Again, I'm not super thrilled about this local map card, but I think with Olivier, you can perhaps do some cool things. So it's not bad. All right. I mean, it's 30 cards. It works. I think it'll work. She doesn't have a whole lot of clue compression either. So like I said, the fingerprint kit might make the cut if you are at a higher player count. But her job really is to evade, so she can do that pretty well. Let's go ahead and look at our upgrades. What kinds of things can we get just from the core set with some XP? The answer is not much. As we've seen, the core set doesn't have a whole lot of choices. So let's look at the rogue stuff first. We have an upgrade to Sticky Fingers. The difference here is now there's an extra icon, and it's fast. Does not cost you an action to put this into play. Otherwise, the text is the same. Fast is a good upgrade. For 4 XP, it's a little bit expensive because your output in the scenario is just not any better, but you've saved yourself a resource, an action, and you're also more likely to be able to put this into play maybe when you're in a tough spot. Like you drew an enemy and this came in your upkeep card. Well, now you can play it at least, right? That's good. If it were the level 0 one, you can't play it. You get attacked first, and that's sometimes not what you want to do. So it's not a bad upgrade in the context of the core set. If you want to spend 3 XP, you could just start with 2 additional resources, period. I think this card's very good. It doesn't require you to remove anything from the deck. Sticky Fingers, I guess, is just a straight up upgrade too, so that's fine. But this is good. You can take 2 of them if you have 6 XP. Start with 9 resources. Will help you get all this expensive stuff into play. Honestly, this is a solid upgrade for this deck. Decisive Strike does give you some money, but you got to pass a combat test. You get +2 and deal +1 damage for the attack. How are we passing that test? I didn't give us Overpower. I don't think it should be in the deck. Unexpected Courage could make the cut if you're trying to do a lot of stuff. I don't know. This isn't really for Trish. It's not really for Dexter either. The card is good. I mean, you could say this because how you get rid of the Black Chamber Operative, but you need to pass the test. So, last thing in the Rogue class is Out of Sight, a level 3 card of a card that I didn't even want to include in the level 0 version. So we have 3 XP for 3 icons instead of 1. Max 1 committed per skill test. If you succeed by 1 or more, the performing investigator may disengage from each enemy and move to a revealed location up to 2 connections away. So you get out of dodge. I think that's a good effect, but for 3 XP, I'm not excited here. What's cool about this card and the level 0 one is like you can commit this to a Thieves Kit test or a Hammerless test. So, I mean, you could do something. I don't know. I mean, you would get attacked for the Thieves Kit though. I guess you don't have to be engaged with an enemy for that. I don't know. My first 3 XP isn't going into this. It's going to go into another day, another dollar, probably. Now, our secret cards, we have just a couple. We have Mysterious Grimoire. This is level 2. So you spend yourself 2 XP. And this gives you some card draw, card search, which, if we're doing the whole bounce things back and forth from our hand, seems really good. We have 4 secrets here. During your turn, spend 1 or 2, exhaust Mysterious Grimoire, search the top 3 cards, or 6 if you spent 2 secrets, of your deck for a card and draw it. If there's a weakness there, you draw it too. If we're short on card draw, like we skipped out on the Lucky Cigarette case, this is a nice replacement for it. I think it just automatically does the thing, and maybe we can use it as part of our prestidigitation idea. Maybe we need to use it to draw prestidigitation in the first place. Okay. And then there's a level 2 through the cracks. This is 2 resources instead of 3. That's a lot better. Evade, you get +2 for this evasion for each clue you have to a maximum of +6. Holy cow. If you succeed, you may disengage from each enemy engaged with you and move to a revealed connecting location. Got to be revealed. That was true of Out of Sight as well, right? Yeah. All of these making you move to just revealed locations also make them a bit tougher to play. But yeah, I think this is a tech card. You're going to use it in places where you know it's really important. Like the level 0, I can imagine, and through the cracks, or sorry, and Out of Sight, I can imagine exactly where it's good. I really know those parts of the campaign where it's like, yeah, that would have worked really well. But what are we dropping for this, right? What of these cards would be a good idea to drop? Is it the Manual Dexterity? No, because I probably need this card for Treacheries too. Is it Breaking and Entering? Feels like a very different card. 1 copy of Silver Tongue? I don't know. Like, we're already having a hard time figuring out what to keep and what to drop as it is. So this probably doesn't make the cut either, although being an evade action, she gets the extra action for it. It's not a bad idea. So consider this if, I don't know. I honestly don't know when you would consider this if you truly think that there's some card that's not working for you. If you've never played Dorothy and you want to just replace her with one of these events. Otherwise, you can go with Charisma and pick up, the extra ally slot for both of them. I don't know if Trish is drawing enough in the deck I built here to warrant seeing all that stuff. Although we do have the Covert Ops that lets us draw extra cards. There's something here. Yeah. Well, that's it. That's all you get from the core set. I do think that this level 0 deck will perform. And just adding a bit more consistency to the resources will make it be even better. So, man, I'm still scratching my head here. I think this card could replace something. Maybe it's the local map or something like that. I don't know. Okay. I didn't talk about the hand crank too much. I did at the beginning and said I was impressed by it. But let's just sort of mention that this card is really cheap. So if you are playing Prestidigitation, this is a good target to return to your hand since it is so cheap to put back into play. Or if we're not running Magnifying Glass, which this easily could be if you don't already have it in a different deck, I think this does a very good magnifying glass impression. Okay, now we do the fun part of looking at the other cards that we could be putting in the deck at level 0 or 1 to 5, well, the XP cards, when we go ahead and buy the Carolyn Fern or Andre Patel decks. So here we go. This is all the cards now available to her at level 0 from Seeker first, and then we'll look at the Rogues. Then we'll check out the level 1 to 5 cards. Okay, there's a bunch of new stuff here that I don't think necessarily work for Trish that well. Well, we can get some good clue compression, and this does the cool prestidigitation thing. Dreamer's Chronicle taking the extra horror is just not what we want to do with this deck. I think we could. I think we could change up most of the deck to absorb some more horror or add some more horror healing, and this will do very well. It doesn't do anything special with Trish. It's just really just with that one rogue card that makes us say, to everything. But this is a good card for getting some extra clues. Like this gets you 8 clues. It's really good. And if we're running more skill cards, I think this looks even better because the first card that you commit, which doesn't have to be a skill card, will gain a wild icon. And I believe that means after you commit it, you can't just commit anything. Okay. Other new things, we have some horror healing. This hand slot business is just getting a bit too much, I think. It's a tome, though. We do have another card that's going to tell us that we can hold tomes. This lets us heal the horror. There's nothing synergistic about Trish doing it, unlike Carolyn Fern, who really likes to heal horror for extra clues. But you know what? We have not too much horror we can take in this deck. So healing isn't a bad idea. Testing 2 willpower, we're probably going to fail and lose a card, but a card for 2 horror, I'd take that. Now, we can't do the translations. These only go up to level 4s, so we can't do any of the upgraded ones. So don't even think about the Scroll of Pharaohs. We have our psychology student as an ally. This helps us heal horror. Again, if we're planning on charisma, if we're planning on bouncing through different allies, this is a good take. The University Archivist, this is giving us an extra hand slot, which can only be used to hold a tome. Right now, the local map is not a tome, so it would have to be just new things we add, like the Occult Records or that Dreamer's Chronicle. Otherwise, this is not interesting. There's other stuff about finding a tome, but yeah, again, you need to have tomes for this to be worth it. And I think that if we're not running the hammerless, let's just pretend we're never dealing damage to enemies, then we can start to think about that game plan, but otherwise, probably not. Private practice. This is not really for Trish. This is for someone who's going to heal horror quite a bit. Gaining the resource is basically what we're getting out of Sticky Fingers anyway, so don't worry about this. How about the events? There's a few. Caustic Reaction. This lets us fight. This might be better than the hammerless, except for Trish gets the extra evade, so it feels like this is not doing anything special for us. But if we're just running events and not stuff in the hand slots, I guess it could be okay. De-escalate, this lets us heal horror equal to an enemy's horror value. Potentially, got some good icons to, maybe pass a test that's a willpower test. It's a big maybe, especially for running the Dreamer's Chronicle. Insidious Truths is another way to fight. If we have a lot of cards in hand, we could discard them to get a bunch of boosts to our combat. Now, maybe this is the way we get rid of the Black Chamber Operative. If we discard, 1, it gets us +2. If it gets us to +4, that gets us 6 to 4. 3 damage, which we don't need, but we just get the extra bonus. Not a bad idea. Okay. Preposterous Sketches is some more card draw. We could run this over Gather Intel if we don't have that accessible. Psychoanalysis is some card draw or horror healing. It's fine. Doesn't do anything special for us, really. That brings us to Unflappable. This is an evade, which lets us heal horror. This is actually quite good If you compare this to the Through the Cracks, which gave us the extra move, I don't think we value the extra move as much as we want the horror heal. Granted, you need to have 2 or more clues in order to do that, but just do that, I guess. Just wait for you to have the clues and then play this card. This is probably worth it in level 0. I do like the level 1 version a lot more. +3, heal 2, no clue business going on here. This is a great card. Haven't looked at those cards yet, but I just wanted to point it out. Very good for Trish. What else we got? Establish Motive. This is just another skill card. It is a wild icon. Search for an insight event. These are not really insights. We're getting tricks here. This is the only insight. Again, we probably have to change the makeup of our whole deck, but I don't see it being anything more than just like, secret cards are good. It really just feels like, I don't know, it's the Carolyn deck, right? And we want to build a deck that's better for Trish than just a weird Frankenstein deck here. So far, I think this does a good job of having both the horror heal and the evade that is interesting to Trish. Literary analysis, this puts secrets on tomes. Again, no special synergy here. All right, on the rogue side, lockpicks. An old favorite, level 0 lockpicks. Very good card. It'll break sometimes, but we do the level 1 version 2 later. We're adding our 2 numbers together. This is breaking and entering, but on an asset. Now, this doesn't play as nice with the idea of prestidigitation. Like, we'd love for the lockpicks to stay in play forever, but if we want a clue every turn, you're hard-pressed to say no to something like this. Probably worth it. We have the Polished Cane, which is an interesting take for Trish. You are adding your good number to a not so good number, and we're fighting at 6 for 1 damage. If we do happen to succeed by 2 or more, we get an automatic evade. That's not great for Trish because her stuff says, I would like to successfully evade. It doesn't count for her evade action. But if you want to chip in on doing 1 point of damage to like a 3 health enemy, it's not bad. I think this is a good card. And if you're desperate for some damage, it might be worth having one of these. It's just tough to evaluate because there's like nothing special here for Trish, but it's a good card. I will say that her covert ops does function after you evade an enemy. And for that matter, the Black Chamber Operative doesn't go down from the, well, you know what? I guess you don't evade him. You just hit him twice with the cane. You're at 6 to 4, and because the thing doesn't exhaust. Maybe this is really good for Trish, just for dealing with this guy. Just don't exhaust it. You don't need to. With Olivier, you're running at 7. Okay, hit the guy with the cane. If we don't have Lucky Sig Case, I guess you can run Extravagant Ring to get the +2s. That's fine. It's kind of cute with Dorothy, right? You might be able to... Well, no, it's not. +2 value, skill value doesn't actually help with Dorothy. You'd be going from 1 to 3, both of those work, and 0 to 2, neither of those work. So never mind, doesn't work with Dorothy. But it might work with other stuff like Breaking and Entering or Lucky Sig Case, which this was taking the spot of. Never mind. Okay. Marcus, we have another ally to talk about. It's not a good ally. Now, if Trish never fails skill tests, which is unlikely because the willpower is pretty tough, he's reasonable for getting some resources. But I think I'd just run Dorothy instead. You might as well just run Dorothy. I think you're getting enough money out of your other stuff that this guy's not worth whatever we might get out of him. Okay, no slot stuff. Center stage. Pretty good. +1 skill value for every action you've spent this round. You know who has extra actions? It's Trish. Got the extra evade. Now you've turned evading an enemy to maybe an extra card from Covert Ops, an extra resource from Sticky Fingers, and maybe an extra skill value for some other test you need to take. Good card. This is where we can start to think about what to cut. right? And usually the skill cards are what goes, but these feel kind of important for the card draw. I don't know what you cut here, but I think this is a very good card for Trish. Fame, get her some more resources. I don't think the return rate is great, but there's likely to be enemies where she is. It's possible you take this. I think Sticky Fingers just does this better, but it's okay. Grapevine. This is to move towards enemies. Not really what you want to do. Sometimes you do. You could go there to evade something for someone. All right, I suppose. More aloof enemies, I think that gets better. If we pull the weakness that is the Nameless Lurker who spawns across the map, maybe we try to put the upgraded one into our deck. Bunch of events. A sudden fall. No. Clean sweep. Investigate getting +2. Just sort of the last clue you can move. I feel like I'm already moving enough. I don't need this. Like this is going to take the place of breaking and entering. No, that's okay. We don't want to do that. Pay your dues. We can disengage from an enemy. Discover a clue. It'll gain aloof. It's fine, but I think our kit already deals with not only enemies fairly well already. Now, this could solve the Black Chamber Operative. We can spend 2 resources for this guy to just gain aloof, and then we can leave. So, maybe. Okay. Quick exit. This is a big evade. Yeah, that's kind of neat. I think this works for Trish. I don't know what we cut, but I think this is a nice card. Right under their noses. This is giving you a free clue. It's kind of like working a hunch, but not. If we were going to include working a hunch, we could do this instead, but we didn't even go there. This could replace deduction, honestly, and it would be essentially the same rate. All right. Skill cards, I think we do want these. If we want the money, maybe to pump into Silver Tongue or something, watch this is really good. I know I'm going to go through these like so quickly, but the reality is I think all these skills are really good. If you have a bunch of resources, this is 4 wilds. That's really good at level 0. And out the door just gets you 2 more resources. All you need to do is find an agility test. Man, that hammer looks a lot better now. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the level 1 through 5 cards then. There aren't a whole lot more of these. We've got an upgraded magnifying glass. That's fine if we're going to lean into that. It's cheap. Again, with prestidigitation, it's free to just put this back into play. It's kind of crazy. So I think there's like a version of Trish that is like, I'm all about the hand slots and the switching things in and out of play that have uses. And then you maybe get rid of some of these events we have in the deck. Maybe we make our deck a little cheaper. Typewriter is only for tomes. Forget it. Events. Upgraded caustic reaction. It's a 3 damage attack. I mean, this is probably fine, but I think we'll try to find something in the rogue class instead. But this works perfectly fine in her. Hypnotize. Parlay. We do have Silver Tongue for parlays with this stat, which is kind of funny. Shuffle the enemy back into the encounter deck. This isn't how we deal with enemies. We can just evade them. Through the Cracks we already looked at. Unflappable level 1, very good. I would put this in a Trish deck for sure. I think the Heal 2 Horror is just way too good to pass up. Upgraded Deduction, sure. Good card. Upgraded Lockpicks, very good. And then we got the expensive stuff. Black Fan, if you have a lot of resources, this is going to take up a hand slot, which is less than good, but it will give you extra health and sanity and extra action and +1 to every skill. I just don't see it really. The card is good, but is this 6 XP that you really need to pump into this deck? Like, the extra actions, I feel like we have enough of that with the other stuff we're doing. I've played this card before. It was a chapter 1 card, and the card is really good, but I think we need to come up with more hand slots or not be so dependent on them for what we're trying to do to make this work. Like we need event synergy, which we just don't have. Red Clock, I think we could fit in because we don't have an accessory slot, and this just gives us money and skill value and moves. If you have 10 XP lying around, it sure will do the trick. Good card. Upgraded Marcus. I just don't see a reason to play him. Our ally situation is perfectly fine. And I don't think we need the extra money. Upgraded Silver Tongue, though. Would love to start with this in our opening hand. That's all it does. But just that sort of, let's get going with another day, another dollar. Play your Silver Tongue. I can evade anything at like 6 for sure, maybe 8. Yeah. Okay. Upgraded Grapevine draws you a card. You can move a little bit further away. I mean, it does something. I just don't think that we need it here. Card's fine. Upgrade Well Connected, I think, if we really are sitting on a lot of resources and not spending them all into Silver Tongue, is good. This will help us pass Mythos tests that we were not able to pass otherwise. Our big weakness is willpower, right? There's nothing here to help us in willpower except for that level 0, what's the skill called? Easy Street, and then maybe this. So this is probably a good backup plan. Good card. And then there's a bunch of events. Upgraded Sudden Fall. This one now fights with our agility, and now we get to add the 2 to our 4. And if the target enemy is exhausted, we do 3 damage. This is pretty good for Trish, right? Because we basically turn the Hammerless into a big attack with 3 damage. Problem is, I think this is better if we just aren't running all of the hand slot stuff. Hammerless does it multiple times, but doesn't give you any boost. This gets you a bit more out of it, but just once. Clean sweep. We're getting investigating with our agility. Add our other number that's really good. After the test resolves, you may move to connecting location. Probably reasonable in solo, huh? I feel like breaking and entering is this without the move. And that one requires you to succeed by 2 to get the evade, but it's pretty similar. That costs 0 XP. Upgraded quick exit. I did like this one before. This one now adds our willpower, which is not really good. Did the level 0 just give us +2? Yeah, so it's the same. Now this one doesn't require us to succeed by 2 to get the doesn't ready, but this is sort of funny. This is not a huge upgrade for her. Right under their noses, level 3. Very expensive, huh? Discover a clue at your location. If you succeeded by 2 or more, discover a clue at a connecting location as well. Yeah. Solo Trish likes this. Otherwise, you need to... Look, I said it before. It's fine to leave clues other places. Like, you can use Olivier to make this work. Is it jumping through too many hoops? I don't know. For 3 XP, though, I would love it that it cost us only 1 resource. I think for 3 XP, it should cost 1. Lastly, we have Contingency. I don't even remember this card. 3 XP also, 2 wild icons. Oh yeah, this is the spend 3 resources to cancel a revealed token. I mean, it's generically fine. It's just extremely expensive. And I think we have plenty here to spend our XP on. That maybe this is good if you have no other way to get out of a very tough test. And you're just praying to get a token that helps you pass. Finally, there's Out the Door level 1. Bonkers card. Gives you 4 resources. Yeah, there's potentially a way to lose it, but so what, right? The 2 icons are going to help you all the time. All right, well, that's Trish. I do think she gets a lot out of this. I think these are just more options for her. There's just a few evade things. There aren't a whole lot of like, this is a Trish-coded card to me. There's a few. But otherwise, she's just a good investigator. She's kind of I wouldn't say like a blank slate, because the extra evade you want to do as much as possible. but there's not a whole lot of tricks so far that let us capitalize on that too much. Like in chapter 1, there were more cards that were, if there's an enemy at your location, then some other good stuff happens. Most of this seems to just be get to the enemy, draw the enemy, and then some kind of an evade or attack to get yourself out of the situation. There's no like extra bonus, like a scene of the crime type of thing happens in Guardian. Okay, well, that's the end of the series. I hope you had a good time thinking about the cards in Chapter 2 with Trish and all the rest of them. Again, I will have to reiterate, build your own deck. Just take this as a starting point and think about what might be fun to add or take out of the stuff that they packaged with you. So that's it. I'll see you next time in some future video, but that's a wrap on this series. Bye!